Hello, this is RJ Steinert from Open Learning Exchange. I'm going to show you today how to use your laptop with couchdb on it to move data from your community BeLL to your laptop and from your laptop to the national BeLL, and then back from the national BeLL to your laptop and your laptop to the community BeLL. Here we have a fresh couchdb installation. If you haven't installed couchdb yet, go to couchdb.apache.org and you'll find a download link there for your operating system. Because this is a new install of couchdb, we have to fix this admin party. Admin party means that everyone is an admin, but for security's sake, we're going to create an admin for your couchdb instance. We're going to click this Fix This link. For this demonstration, let's just make this easy. We're going to do a username of admin and a password of password.
We call that shallow, though.
Now I'm logged in as admin. If I look over at the address of 192.168.0.104.5984/utils, I'll see our community BeLL. This is a list of all the databases that are in our community BeLL. Right now we have one document in resources. This is a very young community BeLL, so we just have one resource in there right now. What we want to do is we want to move this resource that someone entered into this community BeLL to our laptop so that we can then push it up to the national BeLL. We do this by using the replicator database on our couchdb on our laptop. Before we enter something into replicator database to tell it to pull data from the resource database on the community BeLL and put it on this couch database, we have to create the database for it to pull to. So we're going to create a resources database. Go back to overview. We now have a resources database with no documents. So we're going to now tell our replicator database on our couchdb on our laptop that we want this database to go to here. Going into our replicator database, we're going to create a new document. Each document will tell the replicator on our couchdb exactly what it should be copying from where and to where. I'm going to start out by saying add a field, and I'm going to give this a source. By double-clicking on null, I'm able to edit it. And our source for this replication is going to be 192, the community BeLL, 168.0.104.5984. That's the location of the community BeLL, and we want the resources database. So we say /resources. Going to add another field. We have to tell Couch where to put this. So the target is our own resources database. We could put the full URL, but for the purposes here, if you just put the name of the database, it knows that it's on the local machine. Now there's one trick here. The user permissions. Because I'm already logged in here, when this replication happens, it will act as if I'm doing it myself with all my permissions that come with it. But when we're accessing remote databases at another URL, we're not logged in there. So we have to tell our couch database exactly how to log in on another couch database. So with that, we have to give it the username and password of this community BeLL. The username and password for this community BeLL, the username is Pi, and the password is Raspberry. So the full URL with admin access is http:// the username, which is pi, colon, the password, which is raspberry, at the location, which is at 192.168.0.104:5984, and the database. That's our entire source. That will give us full access so that we can copy everything that's here to what's here. I'm going to click save here, and save here, and save here. And there's one last thing to do. We're going to say continuous is true. This will tell Couch to always do this sync, no matter whether we tell it or not to. It will just do it when it can. It will detect that the database is there when there's changes, and it will initiate the process of syncing. Now, there's something to be aware of. This is a one-way, this is not a two-way sync right now. This is just pulling data from the source to the target. If we reverse these, we'd be pushing from our resources database to the remote resources database. We'll create another one of those records in just a minute. But for now, we're going to click Save Document. Now if we go to Status, we will see that this replication is actually happening. You can see from this database to this remote database on the community BeLL to our resources database that is local. Now in just a minute, we already see it here. We see that we now have one document in our resources database on our laptop. That's the same document as we have in our resources database on the community BeLL. Now, there are other types of data in different databases that we can also do the same thing for. It is up to you to decide what you want to end up in the national BeLL. For example, if we decided to pull in the assignments to our laptop and then push them to the national BeLL, then the national BeLL would have all the assignments. This data might be relevant for your national BeLL, or it might not. It's up to you to decide. Alright, so next step. Now that we have resources from our community BeLL on our local laptop, let's push those to our national BeLL, another remote server. We're going to go back to our replicator database. We're going to create another new document. And this time, the source is our own resources database. And our target is our national BeLL. For the sake of this demo, we have a username of Olay, password of Olay, a couch database URL of olaydemo.cloudin.com, and a resources database. Let's make this continuous. True. And save the document. Go back to our status. And now we don't see that the replication is arriving here. The problem that we're facing right now is that we're not connected to the internet. We're just connected to the community bell. So I'm going to change my internet connection, my Wi-Fi network that I'm connected to one that has an internet connection. If I go back to my replicator database and I look at the replication entry that I just made, I can see that it has a replication state of error. It says that when it can't find that database, but it will retry in a couple of minutes. When it does retry that, it will push that entry, the resource that we got from our community bell that we then replicated to our laptop, and it will be replicated to this online database. We also want it to pull down resources from the online database, resources database, to our laptop so that we can push them onto the community bell. We use the same process, except this time the source is our online database. Our target is our local resources database. Whoops. Gotta add the database. And continuous is true. Gotta hit these green check marks. There we go. Alright, so now we'll be pushing and pulling, that's a full sync, two-way sync, to our online database. Now we only have a one-way sync. We're only pulling from our Raspberry Pi. We also want to push resources from our laptop to it. So one more entry. Our target this time, we're pushing from our laptop to the Raspberry Pi. So our target is the Raspberry Pi, the community bell itself. And of course, that makes the source our local resources database that we're pushing to that target. And at last, continuous is true. Save document. And now we have all of the replicator entries that will move data from the server online, the national bell, to our laptops, which will then push those resources to the community bell. We also have the entries to pull the resources from the community bell onto our laptop and then push them onto the national bell. We can continue this process for all of the databases. And it's up to you to decide which databases make sense to pull to your laptop, to pull from the national bell, and to push to the national bell, and to push to the community bell. Thanks for watching, and have fun playing around with this. Bye now.